You hesitate, waiting for the right moment, the perfect plan, the clear path. But strength doesn't wait. You become unstoppable the moment you decide to be. Why? Because action creates belief. How? By walking, speaking, and thinking as if no force can hold you back, until even your doubts surrender. In a few moments, I will teach you how to train your mind and body to move with unstoppable confidence and intent. You become what you believe you are. You don't rise above your self-image. You may dream of greatness, but if deep inside you see yourself as limited, small, or incapable, then that's exactly where you'll remain. You can gather knowledge, shake hands with opportunity, and even stand at the doorstep of success, but if you don't act as if nothing can stop you, you won't enter. Most people don't fail from lack of potential. They fail from lack of permission they never gave themselves. You wait. You hope someone sees you. You want approval. But power doesn't come from waiting. Power begins when you decide, I will walk like I belong. I will move as if the outcome is already mine. You must begin to act like the version of yourself you claim to be. Start walking with the certainty of someone who's already paid the price. Speak with the conviction of a man who's tasted the result in his mind before he's touched it in reality. Now imagine this. You walk into a room, not with arrogance, but with calm certainty. You look around and feel no need to prove anything. You've already chosen your direction. People sense it. They follow it. Ask yourself, how long will you let doubt dress you each morning? Why wear fear like a second skin? What if, for 1 month, you acted as if you were meant to win? Who would you become if you simply refuse to consider failure? Nothing changes until you do. Your world is not waiting to change. It's waiting on you to become someone it must respond to. You think circumstances shape you, but they don't. They reveal you. You can keep waiting for the right time, but understand this. Time never arrives dressed in comfort. It shows up as pressure. You keep saying, once I have more confidence, I'll take action, but that's not how it works. Action builds confidence. Repetition builds mastery. And mastery builds belief. Every day you delay, you reinforce the idea that you are powerless, and you're not. You become unstoppable the moment you decide, I don't care if I'm ready, I'll move anyway. Change doesn't ask for your permission. It demands your transformation. You must learn to become the kind of person your future requires. Now picture this. You rise early, not because you have to, but because your mission whispers to you. You write your goals by candlelight. You practice when no one is watching. You face the challenge, even while shaking, because you've decided your fear doesn't get a vote. How long will you negotiate with hesitation? How much of your life will you trade for comfort? What if, instead of preparing forever, you just began? What if you acted not like a beginner, but like a man becoming exactly who he said he would? The world respects the man who moves without noise. There is something terrifying about a man who walks with silent certainty. He doesn't boast, he doesn't beg, he simply moves. While others announce plans, he builds. While others need applause, he sharpens in private. And when the results arrive, no one saw him coming. The world will try to distract you with noise. It will bait you with attention. But the truly unstoppable man isn't here for attention. He's here for ascension. He trains when it's boring. He endures when it's thankless. He remains loyal to the vision even when no one believes in it. You must become this man. Learn to act without explaining, to decide without defending. Your power is not in how loud you speak, but in how consistently you move. Now imagine this. You work alone, you plan alone. No one asks what you're doing because you're not broadcasting it. But one day they look up and you're miles ahead. You didn't ask for recognition, you earned momentum. And now they cannot ignore you. Ask yourself, do you need to be seen improving, or are you content becoming? Can you stand in silence while others talk, knowing your time will come? What would happen if you trained with the intensity of a man preparing for something only he believes in? Decide what you want, then burn the boat. Most people fail, not because their goal was too big, but because they left the door open to escape. They kept a way out, a plan B, an excuse. But if you truly want to act as if nothing can stop you, then you must remove every option except forward. Once a man truly decides, he becomes dangerous. He stops waiting for things to line up. He starts aligning himself. He stops asking for signs. He begins building his own. When you decide what you want and remove retreat from your vocabulary, you activate a different power. No more wandering, no more maybe, only forward. Imagine this. You write your goal on paper, seal it in an envelope, and tell no one. But from that moment, every step, every hour, every setback is simply part of the contract. You cannot run now. You've burned the boat. There's no going back. What would change if you never again entertained doubt? If you lived each day with the urgency of someone who knows there is no second chance? Could it be that your success has been waiting on your decision all along? Master your inner voice or be a slave to it. The most dangerous opponent you'll ever face isn't out there. It's inside your own mind. It doesn't come at you with weapons. It comes with whispers. You're not ready. They're better than you. What if you fail? That voice doesn't shout. It doubts. And the tragedy? Most people believe it. They mistake fear for caution. They call hesitation wisdom. They retreat, thinking they're being smart, when in truth, they're being ruled, not by reality, but by a ghost in their head. Your thoughts are not facts. They're echoes of what you were told growing up, of past mistakes, of people who quit and convinced you to do the same. Most of what you think is just noise you've absorbed, never questioned, and now mistake for your own voice. But here's the truth. If you don't take control of that inner voice, it will take control of you. You either train it or it trains you. You must become the commander of your mind. Like a soldier drills his body, you must drill your thinking. Fearful thoughts will come, they always do. But you don't entertain them. You intercept them. You replace, reframe, and reprogram. You stop saying, I can't. You start saying, I will. You stop asking, what if I fail, and start declaring, what if I win? That shift from fear to force is how a weak mind becomes a powerful one. It starts with your words, and your words begin in your thoughts. Picture this. That same voice rises again. Doubt, worry, insecurity. But this time, you don't follow it. You pause, you breathe, and you say, not today. You return to your goal. You keep moving. You take one more step in silence. You don't beg your mind to feel ready. You train it to obey. That's how mental discipline works. Not with inspiration, but with instruction. You lead your mind like a general leads an army, focused. So ask yourself, who's in control when your mind speaks? Is it you or the noise that lives unchecked? If you could hear those thoughts out loud, spoken by someone else, would you allow it? Would you let a person stand in front of you and say, you're worthless, you'll never make it, you're too late? No? Then why tolerate it in silence? Why make your own mind your enemy? You have two choices. Lead your thoughts or follow them into mediocrity. There is no third option. Rule your mind or be ruled by it. It's that simple. Build discipline like it's your only wealth. You were not born disciplined. No one is. Discipline isn't a gift. It's a construction site. It's built brick by brick, decision by decision. It grows when you say yes to difficulty while no one's watching, when you choose effort over ease, not once, but again and again. Every day your mind offers comfort. Every day you must decline it. Until you build that inner wealth, you'll keep borrowing motivation from others, reassurance from voices outside of you, and anything borrowed can be taken away. Discipline is the one currency no one can steal. It's quiet, invisible, but unshakable. A man with it can walk through fire and not flinch. A man without it collapses under a drizzle of inconvenience. It is the difference between wishing and becoming. It is the bridge between the life you imagine and the one you actually create. Without it, dreams remain mirages, forever just out of reach. Most people treat discipline like punishment. They think it's restriction, when in truth, it's release. Discipline doesn't trap you, it frees you. Because once you learn to obey yourself, no one else can command you. No excuse can sway you. No temptation can own you. You become immune to distractions because you've already made your decision. You don't follow feelings, you follow orders from the higher version of yourself. Picture this. You rise early, not because someone tells you, but because your mission commands it. You don't hit snooze. You don't negotiate. You say, this is who I am. When temptations show up, you don't tremble. You walk past them like they don't exist, because they don't, not to you. You've already trained your mind to move forward. You've already won the battle before it begins. So ask yourself honestly, can you trust your own word? When you say, I'll do it, does it happen? Or are you always starting over, always trying again, always explaining why it didn't work out? What would your life look like if your habits worked even while you rested? What if your discipline ran on autopilot? That's not fantasy, it's built, but only if you stop negotiating with laziness. Only if you stop letting today's comfort rob tomorrow's greatness. Another year of delay is another year of regret. Discipline is not about pushing harder. It's about becoming consistent. It's about keeping promises to yourself, especially when no one else is watching. That's how trust is built. That's how freedom is earned. Not through willpower, but through training. And it starts now. Walk into the room like you own the outcome. The moment you enter a room, people feel you, not because of the clothes you wear or the title you carry, but because of the energy radiating off you. That energy speaks before you do. It reveals whether you're confident or hesitant, whether you belong or doubt your right to be there. People read you in an instant. Your shoulders, your pace, your eyes. If you carry apology in your posture, you'll be dismissed before you open your mouth. But if you walk in grounded and certain, the world takes notice. Hesitation is invisible to you, but obvious to everyone else. The world doesn't bend to the unsure. It responds to the steady, the centered. Not the loudest or boldest, but the one who moves with intention. Confidence isn't noise, it's precision. Those who carry quiet power don't need to convince anyone. They've already convinced themselves. The rest is just alignment. The secret lies in preparation. Inner work is outer influence. When you've rehearsed success in your mind, seen yourself shaking hands, making decisions, standing tall, there's no need for bravado. You don't enter a room to beg for approval. You don't arrive to impress. You arrive to execute. The result is already written in your mind. So you move with the stillness of someone who's read the final page and knows it ends in victory. It starts with posture, upright, not tense, still, not stiff, eye contact that's steady, not aggressive but clear. Your body language says, I know why I'm here. You don't fidget or apologize. You don't shrink to avoid judgment. You expand. You breathe. You let silence serve you. Every move either commands respect or invites dismissal. There is no neutral. You're always telling the room something. Make sure it's what you intend. Now, picture this. You're in a negotiation. You're not the wealthiest in the room. You're not the most experienced. But none of that matters because you're grounded. You've prepared mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You've written about this moment. You've visualized it. You've prayed for it. And now that it's here, you don't hope, you act. You sit calmly. You speak clearly. The room senses it. You're not grasping, you're claiming. And because your certainty is unshakable, others begin to adjust themselves around you. Ask yourself, do you wait for the right time to speak, or do you believe your voice already matters? Do you shrink when pressure builds, or do you step forward with resolve? Every day you're teaching people how to treat you by how you carry yourself. If you walked into every room like your presence had weight, what doors would open? What would you attract? What would change? If you believed without a doubt that you already had the right to be there. Confidence is not a performance, it's a decision. A decision to move as if the world needs what you bring, because it does. And once you own that truth, the room changes. Not because they gave you power, but because you stopped asking. Let your work prove your worth. Too many people waste energy trying to be heard. They raise their voices, exaggerate their titles, and make noise hoping it sounds like power. But real authority doesn't shout, it's felt. The man who cannot be ignored doesn't need to force attention. His presence speaks because his results are undeniable. You don't win respect by demanding it. You earn it by producing outcomes so clear that no one can argue. The loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest, just the most insecure. Value is not something you announce, it's something you prove. Every decision you make, every task you touch is either building your name or weakening it. Reputation isn't declared, it's demonstrated. When you operate with excellence consistently, people begin to notice. Not because you ask them to, but because excellence leaves a trail. People follow results, not words. And real value doesn't need an introduction. That level of influence isn't accidental. It comes from clarity and self-respect. It means refusing mediocrity, even when it's easy. It means doing it the right way, even when no one would notice if you didn't. When shortcuts appear, you ignore them. When applause is delayed, you keep going. You don't need attention to stay disciplined. You don't need a witness to be excellent. Because you're not building for credit, you're building for legacy. You're not trying to be seen, you're making yourself undeniable. Imagine this, you walk into a room and everyone already knows who you are. Not because you introduced yourself, but because your actions spoke long before you arrived. You don't need to advertise. Your results have become your reputation. That kind of recognition can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. It can only be earned, and once you earn it, no one can take it from you. You become a name worth remembering. Now ask yourself, are you still waiting to be chosen, or are you making yourself impossible to overlook? Are your habits aligned with greatness, or do they whisper confusion? If someone recorded your daily decisions and played them back as your story, would you be proud? You don't need to chase recognition. You need to become the kind of person who produces work so solid, so consistent, that recognition finds you. Let your output do the talking. Your life is a billboard. Whether you realize it or not, the world reads your habits. It sees your choices. It hears your discipline or your lack of it. What you do daily is writing the headlines of your reputation. And if your results were displayed in front of the world, what would they say about you? Would they inspire? Would they confirm your words or expose them? Power is quiet. Greatness is proven. Influence is earned. So stop trying to be impressive. Just be excellent. Be so committed to mastery that people remember your results more than your name. That's how you become impossible to ignore. Not by saying it louder, but by living it better. Use every setback as a setup for greatness. Life will not ask for your permission before it delivers pain. It won't give you a warning before it throws punches. It will hit you in the gut, financially, emotionally, spiritually. You'll be betrayed. You'll lose what you thought was secure. You'll feel like the ground disappeared. But here's the truth. Nothing that happens to you has power until you decide what it means. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. Pain is raw material. What you make from it is your choice. The strongest people you'll ever meet are not the ones untouched by misfortune. They're the ones who faced it and rose anyway. They didn't escape pain. They studied it. They didn't deny suffering. They turned it into fire. They stopped asking, why me, and started asking, what now? That's what separates the defeated from the determined. How they respond to the blow, not how hard it hit. When you carry yourself like nothing can stop you, setbacks shrink. They don't disappear, but they lose their ability to paralyze you. You stop treating them like walls and start seeing them as scenery, things you pass, not things that hold you back. Life is full of turns and storms. The secret is in how you bend, not break. You adapt, you learn, you press forward, not once, but again and again. That's how strength is built, not by ease, but by endurance. Now imagine this. You lose your job. Everyone around you expects you to collapse. They wait for the spiral. But instead, you wake up early the next day. You sit in silence. You start planning. You write down a new goal. You reach out to new connections. You walk with a sharper gaze, a firmer step. Why? Because you've decided no event will define you. You will define yourself, regardless of the event. Pain doesn't have to become your identity. It can become your momentum. Some people live in the echo of their wounds, replaying what hurt them until it hardens into helplessness. But you're different. You extract meaning, not misery. You gather lessons, not labels. You stop romanticizing the struggle and start building through it. That shift changes everything, because when you take ownership of the narrative, nothing owns you. Not loss, not rejection, not even failure. So ask yourself, when life knocks, will you crumble or construct? Will you allow one moment to speak for your entire life, or will you speak back through action? Hardship is not a sentence, it's a challenge. And challenges don't care about how you feel, they only respond to how you move. You get to decide whether the setback becomes a tombstone or a cornerstone, whether it becomes an excuse or a weapon. What if your greatest failure was just the tunnel leading to your greatest strength? What if the betrayal, the collapse, the disappointment, that thing you thought would break you, was actually shaping you into someone unshakable? Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come dressed as breakdowns. The pain isn't the end. It's the pressure that shapes the diamond. What matters most is that you don't stop walking. You cannot control the storm, but you can control your stance. You can't choose every battle, but you can choose your spirit. So when life hits you, and it will, remember, it's not the fall that defines you. It's what you do next. Let the world throw what it wants. Let it doubt you, let it delay you, but never let it decide you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you do with it. Speak with authority even to yourself. Before you ever speak to the world, you are already speaking to yourself. That voice inside, your internal dialogue, sets the tone for everything that follows. If that voice is filled with hesitation, fear, or self-doubt, it will infect your posture, your energy, your decisions. People won't see your internal battle, but they'll feel it. The man who commands his life must first master the battlefield of his thought. You cannot lead in the world if you are lost in your own head. Authority begins in silence, long before a word leaves your lips. Words are not just tools, they are weapons, maps, and seeds. What you speak in private is building something in you, brick by brick. Every I can, I will, I must is a brick of steel laid in the walls of your mind. And every I can't, I'm not enough, maybe someday, tears those walls down. Speak carelessly in private and you will stumble in public. The mind listens, and it obeys. If you repeat weakness often enough, it becomes policy. If you repeat power often enough, it becomes instinct. That's why self-talk isn't silly, it's strategic. You are conditioning your subconscious to either support you or sabotage you. Most people don't realize how many of their failures were rooted in the things they told themselves when no one else was around. Speak with purpose, even in the quiet. Train yourself to speak life. Speak truth with fire. Speak what you want to become, not just what you see. Say it, even if you don't feel it yet. Say it when you wake up. Say it when doubt creeps in. Say it when you want to quit. You must learn to program your mind with your words. Power is not about waiting for confidence, it's about building it through repetition and conviction. Imagine this. You stand in front of a mirror. You're not posing, you're confronting. You look yourself in the eye, not with arrogance, but with intensity. You say, I am focused. I am relentless. I do not quit. I overcome. I grow. I rise. You don't wait for the world to agree, you command yourself.